I
let's
can do
start the
that.
conversation.
All right.
So they're both rolling. We got some time.
Okay.
So
Introduce myself.
let's do it. Yeah.
All right. My name is Yolanda Crump. I'm a mom. I am an accountant. I am the brand ambassador and owner of Bougiewild, and I'm also the founder of a nonprofit organization called Recognize the Good. As a mother, I have 4 children. Those 4 children produce me grandchildren, so I'm also a yaya. um, my family is my life. As an accountant, I represent taxpayers before the Internal Revenue Service to help them resolve tax issues, file delinquent returns. Um, as the owner of Bougie Wow, I'm a red carpet correspondent. I am a music artist, and I am the energy behind the brand. Recognize the Good is something new. It's a nonprofit organization I founded to spread awareness to the city of Memphis of what happened to the minds of children who were born into poverty, lacking education, and dysfunction, and how the dysfunction impacted our minds. My mission with Recognize the Good is to let people know through me that it's possible to retrain your mind and become the best version of yourself. Yeah.
All right. So it seems like you 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 say I am, I am.
Okay.
So you do a lot. No,
Yes.
no, no. I'm not criticizing your.
Right.
I'm saying you do a lot.
I have a big vision. I have a big vision for my life. I desire to make a difference, to leave a legacy, not just live and exist. After, I don't know if we want to get into this right now, but after my awakening, I
No,
realized life.
let's let the flow take
Yeah.
over. Yeah.
Okay. So life is about purpose. After my awakening, I just realized life is about purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that you got to live intentional to create the life you want. Who do you see yourself? Your character, your integrity. So after my awakening, my life changed. So I do live with purpose. I do live with a desire to make a difference in the world. I do have a vision. I have a vision for everybody to know their gift, to live in a true authenticity, to know your gift, to recognize who you are, own it, and work to become the best version of yourself. Yeah.
So it, this go getter, this mentality of always driving forward and going for something that stems from something though, right? That stems from how you grew up,
Right.
right? And so that was your way of dealing with the conditions in which you were brought up in, correct? I mean, or was that a byproduct of the conditions that you were brought up in?
But we got to go back.
Right. I'm trying to tie. I want to tie it in.
Okay.
So,
All right.
is there
So
a quick way that you can? How can you quickly say that you grew up this way and I'm this way because, right?
right. Um. How can I quickly say this? You're
'Cause it's a
looking
long
at
story.
right,
Right?
right, and I want to make it real short. You're looking at an individual who was born into dysfunction unknowingly. Dysfunction meaning lack of education, toxic relationships, environments. So my mind was conditioned without my permission to think that that was the norm.
Right.
When
Instead of
I
saying you're looking at, why don't you say I am? I
okay,
am a person.
okay,
Let me
okay,
let me get that on camera.
all right. I am a person who grew up in dysfunction, toxic relationships, lack of education, environments where the norm was chaotic. I realized I was conditioned without my permission. When I entered the world, I wasn't the woman you see sitting here today. I went out to prove a point. growing up in dysfunction, I was told as a child, you're ugly. You're not going to be nothing. You're stupid. So when I left home at 15 years old, I left home with an energy, or I guess on a mission to prove a point. And realizing the point I was trying to prove was that I was successful. The whole time, I wasn't doing nothing but hurting myself. I was internalizing the abuse that I received as a child and turned it inward toward me to reflect that I was successful. So that's where the drive initially came from. It came from being, what, I'm going to show you. It had like an I'm going to show you attitude behind it.
Sure.
Now as a 40-some-year-old woman, I look back and realize that I'm going to show you attitude was actually a hurt child out here trying to prove that I can make it. I don't need you. So in years, it caused me to hurt myself. It's hard for me to flow with it. That's why I be needing questions.
Yeah. Right.
It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so, all right. Well, let's it was kind of interesting because you sent me two different sets of questions and they were in.
Yeah, that's why I said I wanted you to take them and to turn them into your own interview, and then.
Well, you've got the root and or life and dysfunction are your 2-part ones, all right? And there's a lot of parallels to draw between them.
Okay, well you do what you want to do.
Yeah. No, again, we're just having a conversation, and I'm flowing off these questions.
I got you.
But all right. So the labels, you seem to the labels affected you.
Yes, the labels affected me, and I didn't even realize.
Because labels affect everybody.
Yes.
Words hurt.
Yes.
Words are like swords. And
Yes.
and by the way, if you take away the S, you have words.
Yeah. Yeah. We do. And you remember as a child, what was it? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words would never hurt me. And I said, that's a lie. That is a lie. Words hurt more than sticks and stones because words are impressions that become expressions in our minds. They become impressions first, and then we end up expressing it subconsciously. And I just want to go back, I want to go back because I want to make sure we capture this.
Yeah.
I am a little girl. This is how I see myself. I am a little girl that was born into dysfunction, born into chaos, born into toxic environments that shaped my mind unknowingly. I didn't even realize my mind was being shaped by my environment. These things led me to hurt myself for years. It didn't appear to me at the time that I was hurting myself. But as a 47-year-old woman sitting here talking to you today, I can look at the little girl who went out in the world with a point to prove. A point to prove that I am not those labels. I am not stupid. I am not dumb. I am not these names that I would call. But I realized in trying to prove that point, I was doing things to hurt myself because my mission in life was to prove that point rather than who am I, to discover who am I, to recognize my gifts, to go out and live intentional and create a life that I wanted. Yeah, to recognize my gifts.
Yeah. But your gifts were always stifled by emotional trauma.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And you had to get through it.
Yes.
Tell me about that, like wearing the mask that you had to wear, putting on the mask that you had to wear.
Going out in the world hurt. Like that phrase says, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt. It's the beginning where you have to lie to yourself. Looking back now, you have to lie to yourself. That doesn't hurt. I'm okay. Not realizing the whole time you're hurting yourself because you're doing things with a motive to, like I said, prove a point. It's not that you're living intentional. So the mask that you're wearing is that I'm okay. You cover it up with making sure your makeup is cute and your hair look good and you have the clothes on. I think coming from poverty, I can say that that's the reason why we be at Nike every week to get the Jordans. That we're wearing the name brand clothes when we really can't afford them. Because it's the band-aid. It's the band-aid to our wounds. It's the mask to cover the pain in the inside. So when we look in the mirror and we have all of these materialistic things on, it's like the band-aid. It's like that image that give us our self-worth rather than acknowledging what's going on mentally or even training our mind to get educated. That's power. We get lost in the materialistic things. And the materialistic things is our mask. That it's our image. That's why we get lost. It's our image.
And the culture that we live in doesn't help that at all.
Right.
I mean, the culture that we live in truly actually feeds off of that.
Mm-hmm. And then you just think of untrained mind, someone that's out in the world hurt, don't know who they are, was not raised to love themselves, look in the mirror and know the power that's in them. My daughter and I was talking yesterday, and she said, Mom, I hear you, and you could tell me what you go through. She said, but I can never understand it. She said, I don't understand it. And I look at her and I realize she doesn't because I raised her letting her know you're beautiful. You're fine just the way you are. I got up and it was my day. It was a part of my day to make sure her hair was pretty. She was like, you made me love pink because I put her in pink all the time. I said, imagine if your mom told you you were ugly. If your mom was calling you bitches and hoes and telling you you're not going to be shit. Imagine that. She said, I can't. She said, that's something I can never understand. And at that moment, it hit me. You know what? She can't. She can't understand. So I look for sympathy from her. I said, imagine you were conditioned this way. I'm listening.
It's hard. Well, sorry. It's hard for her to be sympathetic, though,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
She has to be empathetic to because she can't understand, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, because here's one thing: you broke a generational curse.
Right.
It could have been. Who knows how long that generational curse
Right.
was? But you did that's in the Bible. That's
Right.
the story of Joseph, right there. He was child after Abraham and Isaac. He broke the generational curse. That's a huge thing that you did.
Yes.
And so it's it's hard to you're in a difficult position with your family, right?
Yes.
Because you have broken that curse.
Right.
So therefore they don't know it.
Right.
Right. So that's a different like they literally have grown up with a different mentality.
Right.
Than what you had to, and it's a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to understand that the fact that they don't feel that and
right.
can't even really that's something that is a light on you, but you still carry the weight.
Right. I carry the weight of the things that they take for granted. The way that they talk to me as the spoiled brats. The things that, they say and they don't realize you don't know where my mind was at 20 years old, at 18. My son's graduating today. I think about at 18, I was a high school dropout with 2 children. I look at them at 18 and 20, and then I think about and reflect on myself and who I was, and I said, oh my God, I became a mom before I became Yolanda. I never had an opportunity to grow up and to walk into who I am as an individual. I've been a mom my whole life. Just everybody see me as mom, to where in this phase of my life, I just want to be Yolanda. They're like, what you mean you want to be Yolanda? You're mom. And I tell them, I say, imagine you've never been Yolanda. You've been mom. And on this day with my son graduating, I know parenthood doesn't stop here, but it feels good that I don't have to get up, go to school. Did you eat today? Did you do this? I've been doing this my whole life. My whole life. And it's something new. And nobody understands. You quit your job, you did this, you did this. I asked my daughter yesterday, I said, imagine if 5 years ago I was in a bad car wreck. And that car wreck left me injured to where I would have to heal, learn how to walk again, learn how to talk again. You would have to feed me. You would have to change me. I said, would you have been there for me? She said, yeah, I would have been there for you, Mom. I said, it's no different. You got to realize, I didn't realize I was hurt until 5 years ago. I didn't realize all of this happened to me until 5 years ago. 5 years ago, it hit me after my divorce, because people ask me, what happened in your life, Yolanda, that triggered this? I didn't even realize my divorce triggered it. My divorce triggered it to where I asked myself, why did I stay in toxic relationships for so long? And one day, just out the blue, you remember those projecting cameras when we were kids and how they showed it on the board? It was clear. God showed it to me. I had a real revelation. God showed me my whole life flashed before my eyes. My childhood. It's like I was just standing there like, oh my God. And it started it's like I guess I just stopped, Sean. It's like I stopped. And at that moment, like, it was like I was involved in that car wreck. And at that moment, I crashed. I crashed and I was like, oh my God. I've been living from a slumbering mind. I've been living based on survival my whole life. I was toxic. I was addicted to toxic relationships. People talk about drug addiction. People talk about alcohol addiction. There's a thing called toxic relationships addiction. And society don't even realize it. That's the reason why we crave to watch dysfunctional stuff in the news. That's the reason why if fighting and things like that go on, we are sharing it and we are running to watch it, because our mind's been conditioned to that's norm for us. That's exciting for us. That's what we saw growing up in our neighborhood. So that's the norm. We don't even realize that this has been internalized in our mind as normal. That we're that dysfunctional, that it's the norm in our environment.
Well, so your divorce triggered it?
Yes.
How? How so? What part of the process would you say?
My divorce was toxic. It was full of, well,
So your marriage was toxic, yeah.
my marriage was toxic. It was full of chaos, domestic violence, lying, cheating, betrayal, jealousy, envy, you can name it. I mean, it was fear, doubt, insecurity. It was toxic. After my divorce, during my healing from the divorce, I just would sit and ask God every day, why did I stay in that relationship for so long? And the reason I asked God is because the relationships before my marriage were not toxic. But I didn't stay in those as long as I stayed in the one that was toxic. Well, my revelation revealed to me the reason I stayed in the toxic one for so long is I had finally made it back to my familiar place. That was normal for me. And that came crashing down. Like, oh my God, I was conditioned to be dysfunctional. I was conditioned that this is norm, the fighting, the cursing, the domestic violence. And God showed me the way my ex-husband treated me was how my mom treated me. That's what God revealed to me. And what I desired from him was what I wanted from my mom. And to this day, I still haven't gotten it. So these last 6 years, I'm healed. I can talk about it because I couldn't even talk about it without crying. I could talk about it, and I set out to share it to spread awareness so other individuals. I set out to spread awareness so other individuals will know that they're not alone, will know that this can happen. How you train a child is how a child will go. I was trained to be dysfunctional. And so, yeah, that's what triggered it.
That's good. That's gold right there. All right. So, when you say the rebellion, so section 2, the rebellion, this is not your recent rebellion, because when you say when you had your awakening, you sort of shut off, right? And so that's a rebellion. That's a rebellion against the ways of the world. But what was your original rebellion back when you were a teenager? Tell me about those teenage years. Who were you trying to become?
My rebellion in my teenage years was going against what was going on in my home. I knew it wasn't right, and I thought that I was beating it, if that makes sense. I thought that I was wise, but I realized I was really stupid. I rebelled in a way against my mom and what she was doing, but I realized the rebellion caused me to hurt myself inwardly, if I'm saying it right. The rebellion I did, it caused me to internalize it and self-inflict pain. That was the rebellion. And doing things like dropping out of school, you know, at 15 years, well, at 14 years old, I never forget it. One night, my mom, she said something to me. We got into it about something. I'm sure something, I don't know. By this time, our life was chaotic. But I'll never forget it. I went and told my boyfriend, I said, I want to get pregnant. I was 14 years old. When I think about that now as a 47-year-old woman, I'm like, where was your mind, Yolanda? I said, I want to get pregnant. He said, why do you want a baby? I said, because I want somebody to love me. And my mom doesn't love me. And I want somebody to love me that's going to be mine and that's going to love me. I look at that now and I ask myself, I sometimes sit up and meditate just as, where was your mind? That was the rebellion. The rebellion was to show, I don't need you. I don't need you. I'll go create the life I want for myself. I don't need you. That was the rebellion. I knew it wasn't right the way I was being treated. So I was just angry. I think I was just an angry child. And I realized I was angry for a long time because I hurt myself for a long time with toxic relationships, toxic friendships, and it just caused me to be rebellious in life. Strong-minded. I don't need nobody, you know.
Yeah, well, you're right in that it all came from toxic family. That's where everything stems from. All right, so that puts you in survival mode essentially, right?
Yes.
As you were in, so you were in survival mode, and is that when you got pregnant, basically? You were just trying to, or you dropped out of high school and then you got pregnant?
No,
Or
no, I dropped that. No, I guess I was in survival mode, or I think I was in love. I was seeking love. I was seeking love. That's what made me get pregnant. I didn't get pregnant from, oops, I got pregnant.
Right. Okay. So yeah, let's say 14. You wanted to get.
I
pregnant,
wanted to get pregnant.
Right, but then when you did get pregnant, you were 18.
No, I was 14 when I got
Oh,
pregnant.
you were 14.
I got
I'm
pregnant
sorry.
at 14 years old.
Okay,
Um,
but that was later.
no, it was around that time. When I told him I wanted to get pregnant, I think I was pregnant within the next 6 to 8 weeks.
Oh.
I was pregnant. It was me wanting someone to love. It was me wanting someone because I didn't feel love from my mom as a child. I did not feel love. My mom and I did not get along. I was one of those children who would speak up. Growing up in the 80s, children couldn't speak their minds. I was one that did. So I got slapped in my mouth a lot because I would express myself. I would tell my mom when she wasn't right, when she didn't do things right. I would speak on it. I was one of those children who just would call the truth. I would speak the truth, as a child. And so I didn't like my mom growing up. I didn't like her. I wanted to stay with my grandma as much as I could. When my grandmama would come over to the house, I would cry. I would kick out. And I would act a fool to make her take her home with me. I did not want to stay at home. So I realized I grew up as an angry child. I grew up as a very angry child. And then I realized, too, that anger made me vindictive.
But if you didn't feel loved, I mean, that's what it comes down to. If you didn't feel loved as a child, you're gonna be angry.
I was very angry. And I look at myself and I realize, becoming angry and not feeling love is what causes a child to go out in the world to hurt themselves. And that's what I seek to share from a humble, transparent, and a vulnerable place. That a lot of children are getting hurt in society by their moms, and it's not just a single family. This is a society of people because a lot of individuals, including myself, we had children before we were ready, before we were equipped financially, spiritually, emotionally, physically to be parents. And the sad thing is the child that I got pregnant with, to feel loved, he and I have the same relationship that my mom and I have now. And that's a whole nother story. And I hadn't figured out how to bring that together, but I do want to share that I was abused and I ended up becoming the abuser emotionally to him. I ended up doing the same thing. The cycle, as a child, I ended up doing it.
Well, you got pregnant at 14.
Yeah.
Nobody expects a 14-year-old mom to have any idea what she's doing.
Yeah.
So.
But to try to explain it to now my 32-year-old son, he still does not understand that. I mean, for whatever reason, but so I pray for him. But yeah, so I went out in the world angry and rebellious and hurt myself. I hurt myself for years with toxic relationships, friendships, relationships. Threw away a lot of my fortune. I've been working since I was 16 years old. I threw away a lot of my fortune trying to look like I had it at 18 years old with a $440 car note. Spending money on clothes and shoes and purses and, the image to look like I was okay. That's why I say I can speak about this from a transparent place because I've lived it. And I'm grateful that I've overcome it. But it's a reality that's going on in society today.
Well, so talk about overcoming that. What was that process like? How did you, first you have to recognize it. Then you have to recognize it's a problem, right?
when I had my revelation, I almost lost my mind. I think I lost my mind. I quit my 20-year job. I have a mortgage. At the time, I had 2 teenage children. Still have 2 teenage children. And I would cry every day. I cried every day. I said, oh my God. It was like it just came crashing down on me. Just my life. The choices I made. The mindset I had. The relationships I built. The decisions. The environment. What I tolerated. How I used to be angry. Like during my marriage, I would stay angry for days. Now I don't stay angry. I don't want to stay angry. It doesn't feel good. But it was very painful. It was very painful to go through facing my truth. It was laboring. It was a lot of reading the Bible, saying positive affirmations, exercising, crying, praying. And over again. It was laboring until one day I asked God, I said, no, my daughter, she asked me, she said, Mom, she said, days we come home, we don't know what we're going to walk into the house to find. She said, what's wrong with you? And I started asking God, I said, what's wrong with me? And God revealed to me, just like a woman go through labor and it hurts and it's painful, you're being reborn. You good.
You're being reborn. Back on that.
Yeah. You know, God showed me that. And like I said, I have these revelations. God showed me, said, when you were laying there in labor, it hurt. It was painful. Agony. But when the baby's born, you forget all about the pain. You're looking at this new life. And that's what I experienced. The experience of facing my truth, having my revelation, healing, it reminds me of what I went through with childbirth. It was painful. And I think that's why a lot of us don't face our truth, because we don't want to go through the pain. That's why when the Bible says our truth will set us free, but we don't want to take that step to go through the pain and face our truth. Because our truth helps us evolve and grow, and then we understand who we are. And we understand the responsibility we have to train our mind, to set a foundation for your life, establish that mission, that purpose, that vision, and your values. My awakening, I call it an awakening. My awakening was painful. And then once I was reborn, I said, I look in the mirror every day. I acknowledge God live in me, through me, as me. Now, it's some work. It's some work because the old mind is always there. That's the battle. Waking up from it. Waking up from it and not allowing it to take you out mentally from realizing all the time you've wasted. Because you do. You waste a lot of time not knowing who you are. So my daughter calls it, you went through a midlife crisis. I said they call it a midlife crisis. I don't know. It's work. It's work, Sean. It's everyday work. It's still, and it reminds me, I love to use my metaphors. Now I see my mind as land. And I have to work my land every day. Because, yes, I've cleared off my land and I've started to rebuild. But if I don't work my land, weeds will grow back.
That's why the first thing I pray for is a discernment.
Yes.
Because the weeds are out there and they're trying to work their way into our minds.
Right.
So, okay. Well, we fast forwarded a little bit. All right. Well, I tell you what. What about, so from this awakening, we've gotten to the awakening, out comes Bougiewild, right?
I'll tell you about Bougiewild. Bougiewild happened during my awakening, around my awakening. Bougiewild has kind of been a lifelong thing that's been happening to me that I didn't understand. I've always been different, Sean. I've always been different in the sense of I was mature. I was maturer than my peers because I grew up fast. I left home at 15 years old. I had my own apartment. I dropped out of school because I told one of my friends that I had an apartment. I think she went told her mom, and the school went to my mom or something like that. I don't know what happened, but it made me drop out of school. So I've always been different in the sense of my style, my mindset, my outlook on life. So I was criticized for being different. I never followed the trends. You know, my mask I was wearing, instead of me wearing the British Knights and whatever, the Jordans, I never got into that. I used to love Steinmart. So I don't know if you remember Steinmart.
Yeah. Best place to get a wallet or a belt.
Yes.
Was, man. Absolutely.
Yes.
Right
So
there at White Station.
yes, yes. I remember I used to go to the one on Summer when it was on Summer and Graham. Well, I used to shop at Steinmart. And I always had that desire to dress up. I love to wear my dresses and I love to dress up. So Bougiewild was born from people criticizing me. They called me bougie. Growing up in the hood, I was the one who had the children out of my peers. I was the one who was the high school dropout. So nobody expected for me to become this woman I am today. Confident, transparent, authentically me. And I like nice things, so I got called bougie. When I left Memphis in 2005. I think I'm going all over the place. Let me start over with that one.
Okay.
Bourgeois stems from criticism. Growing up in the inner city Memphis, poverty mindset, background, the outlook on life. I never conformed to what the norm was in the sense of behavior. A lot of my hurt came from me internalizing in toxic relationships, but I never fit in as it pertains to the trends or doing the things that the children did in my age or my peers did in my age group. So I was always set aside different. I was always seen as different. I left Memphis in 2005, went out to Atlanta, Dallas, and when I would come back home, people called me bougie. Like, you're bougie, you're this. When you leave Memphis, you realize you have to start pronouncing your words. And you leave Memphis, you learn character. When you leave Memphis, you learn integrity. And learning these things got me called bougie. Oh, you're bougie now. You think you better than us. I love to dance. Dancing is one of my gifts that was never developed. But I love to dance. So when I go out, I dance like nobody's watching. It's a moment for me that I'm free. I don't care what nobody think about me. So people call me wild. So I took bougie and wild and put it together and created a word called Bougiewild, which means can't be boxed, free to be. I'm not bougie or wild. I'm just free to be me.
best answer I've ever heard you give. That was good. You prepped for that one, didn't you?
I mean, I've been saying it for so long, you know.
That was good. I've almost got tears.
That's
Actually, finally hearing you say it like that. That was really good, Yolanda.
just thank you. I'm just free
really
to be
good.
me.
All right. So, how you feeling?
I'm good.
This is good, right?
All right.
Want some water or anything?
Yeah, I'll take some water.
Let me go find a bottle.
It doesn't have to be cold if you ain't got no cold.
Okay. I guess I could stop the cameras. May as well. It's going to be one really big file otherwise. Goes down in this film.
That's what's up. You recording something?
No, I'm posting that movie. Remember I shot a film in November?
Uh-huh.
Now I'm doing the sound post for it. So, and because the edit's done, so they're all waiting on me. Because when a movie, like, cause it comes to sound last, because they have all the editing has to be done, and then sound can do its thing. But it takes at least 2 months.
When you say sound, what you mean? You have to go back in and adjust, like,
Oh, well, yeah,
and add the music and stuff behind it and stuff.
I mean, I was on. Sorry, I'm just pointing to. I was on set in November. Normally, it's kind of weird, random that I was on set as the sound guy and I'm also the sound post person. That you don't normally have that. Normally, it's your expertise is one or the other. I'm like a jack of all trades, master of none. My birthday's in 2 days. I'm a Gemini, so you know I do a little bit of everything.
So when you filming, they're bringing a whole new crew a different crew as sounds. So that means you just take microphones and stuff like that.
Yeah, like so on set, it's me and like usually one assistant, you know, and he'll be holding the boom, you know, and then I'll have wireless mics on everyone, you know, and you know, make sure that as they move around, you can't hear the mics because that's tricky.
So who had a camera?
His name was Jordan.
Oh, so somebody else had the camera.
Yeah, my stepbrother was actually the guy pulling focus on the movie. Oh. Yeah, my stepbrother who works with me. You've met him before. That kid Josh.
Yeah. So this what's up.
Yeah. But see, he never does post. He's on set only. That's his thing. He doesn't do post production. So I grew up in this studio, so I do a lot of stuff, audio stuff, and video. You know, I just do a little bit of everything.
That's what's up.
I mean, in Memphis, it really helped. And especially 20 years ago. These days, there's a lot of people who want to do this now. But 20 years ago, when there wasn't, you had to wear a lot of hats in order to get a full-time, you know, if you wanted to get a year's salary, you know, a good salary for a year, you had to wear a lot of hats. You know, because this isn't a big market. There's not a lot of things happening.
Yeah, people don't have equipment like you have.
No, not a lot.
Everybody trying to record with everything. They just getting cameras now.
Right. Right. Yeah, and this is a big difference. Like having real cameras with real lenses and stuff. You know, but
interesting. Then y'all got the studio. You got the whole setup.
Yeah, I grew up with that kid of drums playing. My dad was a drummer, so I thought I'd drum. All right, well, let's get back on track.
That's what's up.
All right, so Bougiewild. But so is that really it for you? You and Wild is just the way you dance. You just wild. You just free when you dance.
Just free when I'm dancing. Mm-hmm.
But you voice your opinion. So you don't hold back. If you feel, first of all, let me get if you don't mind. Perfect. Okay. You don't hold back if you want to. All right. But that's it, right?
It's me being authentic.
It's right.
It's me being authentic. People see that as wild because in society, it may be just my world and what I see. A lot of people don't show you who they are, truly, once you become a professional. We're stereotyped. As professionals, you're supposed to act. I'm a professional. I'm an accountant. My name is Yolanda Crump with YJ Crump Tax Firm. And I'm just supposed to allow people to see that side of me. And then behind closed doors, when nobody's watching, I'm supposed to express my personality. And I'm always supposed to keep those separate. Well, with Bougiewild, I am saying, why can't a professional be authentically who they are? Why we can't go out to parties and dance? Why we can't show who we are? Like to have fun. Just being authentically me with a childlike spirit. Why I can't do that? I don't kill, steal, and destroy. Do I like to dance? Yes. Am I authentically myself? Yes. So that's where it lies. It's not more so about me voicing my opinion. My opinion is just my opinion. It doesn't matter. It's just more so about me being free to be authentically me without hiding it, without saying, I like to twerk. Why is it that a professional, oh my God, you're twerking? What's wrong with that? It's exercise. What's wrong with having fun? I mean, that's the part I don't understand. Why a professional can't express their personality. It doesn't, and it does cause me to get stereotyped. It does cause me, I've had men to think I'm a whore. I've had men to think that I'm ignorant. I've had men to.
Well, it's not just men who think these things, right? There's people in general.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, I've had men to approach me thinking that this is what I do. I'm like, no, you've mistaken. This is just me having fun.
But when they discover that, when they find that out, don't you see a change normally? Don't you realize? I mean,
Do I realize or
when
do
I
they?
was out when I was out with you in Miami, I saw a lot of people who were just like, damn,
Right.
where you live, all right, sign me up, you know. So
Yeah.
maybe let's talk about that because I have footage to actually support that,
Right.
you know.
Right.
Before and maybe this leads to the red carpet.
All right. It's just what you mean talking about just having fun, enjoying life. I mean, help me to understand what we're talking about.
Okay, so when Bougiewild goes, all right, you and I went out. We were passing out a bunch of, merchandise
Right.
and stuff. What were we trying to do though? Like, what's
Bougiewild is a movement. Bougiewild is a movement where I seek to spread awareness of how society wants to put us in a box. Next month, I will be performing in the Tri-State Black Pride Music Fest. I love to support their movement because my pride is my personality. I am on a mission to spread awareness to society that all we want is to be authentic and to operate in our gifts. That's all we want. That's true happiness. No cars, no clothes, no shoes, no image, no title. We just want to live authentic and get up every day and do what brings us joy. That's true happiness in my definition. That's what Bougiewild is. Why we just can't be free to be ourselves. It's that simple. So I'm starting a movement to say, as professional people, why is it when we become professionals, we have to lose our personality? Why? Why? I mean, does it show that I'm irresponsible because on Saturday you may see me out dancing because I enjoy dancing? Does it show that I'm irresponsible if you see me in Miami with having a party? Does that show irresponsible? I mean, let's define and understand that it's happening. My life and what I do and what I show and what I'm authentically sharing with the world. We're doing it. Society's doing it. They just don't show it. So why is it that we have to put on that mask? Why is it that we have to hide our true selves? Why can't we walk around free?
Why can't we?
I don't know.
You don't know. Is that the battle we're fighting? Is trying.
Just think though, Sean, from the conversations you and I've had, the spirits we encounter, we're having this awakening. You can see spirits. You can see spirit. When you're true to who you are, when you're walking in your true authenticity, our spirit tells us if somebody is uncomfortable. It will rattle. It will feel it. You will get a eerie sense of energy to pass over you. So imagine a world where everybody could be free to be themselves. Would the devil have any energy? And what I mean by about free to be themselves, operating in love, joy, peace, and laughter, knowing who you are, operating in your gift, because it all starts with self-love. God's love, in my definition, is self-love because God made man in his own image. So if God made me in his own image, where do I find God? I find God in me. So the God consciousness that's in me is a responsibility for me to operate in love, joy, peace, and laughter because I can only give you what I'm filled with. And if I don't love myself, and if I'm living for you, and I'm living for him and people and they, what can I truly give but chaos, discord, conflict, irritation, aggravation, and frustration? So my vision is for everyone to be able to live authentically. So when I say can't be box free to be, I'm not saying, oh, if somebody want to be free to go out there and do something dark. No, that's not what I'm saying. Because if you're operating your highest frequency, it's love, joy, peace, and laughter. It's fears, doubts, and insecurities won't exist. But it starts as children when we go out in the world and children taunt other children and criticize other children. It doesn't stop when we become adults. It's just on another level.
What about the other children in your home? Did they also put labels on you in addition to like the classmates that you encountered?
My sister, she was angry. She was angry. We were angry kids. We were just dysfunctional, angry children. We did. We hurt each other. We would fight, say mean things to each other. Just recently, my little sister told me, she said, you've been dealing with this for years. She said, you've been trying to get us to wake up for years. She said, I know it's tough because she's 40 and she's just waking up in the last few years. She said, you've been trying to tell us. I remember the issues you've had with me. And it's been very difficult to be woke with a family who resist what I'm saying, resist what I'm sharing. Because it's painful to face what I'm talking about.
Of course.
It's an what is it? Discomfort. It's a discomfort to really face the truth. Like my ex-husband told me, he said, you always talking about the negative stuff. The stuff you talk about is sad. I said, how is it sad? It's the truth. If we can't ever face the truth, how can we heal? Kirk Franklin said, the truth can hurt you or it can help you. What would truth do to you? I love when he say that. So, yeah. It's difficult. It's difficult being woke now and realizing that I raised my children when I had a slumbering sleep mind. Because a lot of the old behaviors that I exhibited when I was not aware and was not living intentional, now my children are dealing with it. That's the hardest part about the awakening. I just want to grab everybody and say, come on. But they're resisting what I'm talking about because it's the norm. It's the norm.
Well, it's what they're used to.
Yes.
They're accustomed to. People are hard. It's hard to change.
Right.
Boy, change isn't one of the hardest things. So, you mentioned ministry without religion, and feeling called. In the same phrase, in the feeling called to speak, Galatians 6:7-9. Do you want to expand on that for me?
Ministry without religion is acknowledging the spirits we are. Ministry without religion is acknowledging that we're just spiritual beings living a human experience. We're not this flesh. I was driving on 78 the other day, and I saw a dead dog on the street. And when I see dead things now, I see them differently, because I know one day I'm going to die. And I look at that dead animal, and I say, the spirit's gone. That dog is laying out there on the street dead. The spirit is gone. So one day my spirit is going to leave me. Whatever this invisible thing is that move my hand and blink my eyes. When I die, all of this gonna still, my family gonna have to decide what they gonna do with it. So that's what we are. We're not flesh. We're not physical. And everything has been made to be physical. We call God He. We made God physical. We made the temple physical. Instead of understanding the temple that houses the Holy Spirit is the body. The religion, just from my perspective and how I see things now, took away our power in the sense of acknowledging who we are. When we say it's hard to change, I'm trying. I'm finna. I'm gonna. I wanna. God change me. Instead of understanding God made us in His own image. Study the life of God. Live God-like. Live Christ-like. Study the life of Jesus. Live like God lived. Live like Jesus lived. But because we were conditioned that way with the religion, God was separated from us. We don't embody it. We don't understand that it's a roadmap, a set of instructions, a recipe. We look at it as a separate, that's what, God did that. When throughout the Bible, numerous scriptures say, acknowledge God in all your ways, and He should direct your path. God made man in His own image. Live Christ-like. In the book of John, chapter 10, when they were accusing Jesus of blasphemy, He said, but y'all word said, we are ye gods. But we don't even acknowledge that. So if you don't know who you are, like I didn't for years, didn't even know who I was, how do you know to live intentional? How do you know what your mission is, your purpose is? Because the word, like they say in the beginning, it was the word. Just think if the world was full of people that know who they are, that acknowledge and look in the mirror every day and say, I acknowledge God in me, through me, as me. It comes with a responsibility. Just think if we were trained that way, it would come with a responsibility to live God, like to understand that this spirit gonna lead me one day. What am I doing with it? Am I operating in love, joy, peace, and laughter? Or am I operating in fear, doubt, and insecurity? How am I treating the spirit? So that's where I am with ministry without religion. Acknowledging who we are and it comes with a responsibility. And since my awakening, retraining my mind, it's the same as realizing that I need to get in shape and I have to go to the gym and I have to change the way I eat. And I have to practice willpower, discipline, consistency. It's the same. Taking that concept, doing it mentally. But because of the conditioning, we don't. It's easier for us to separate. I'm gonna wait on God to do it. Yeah, there's a higher being because it's the energy. There is a higher being. God is the energy that flows through us. But I think as spirits on earth, we have to acknowledge it, embody it, implement a practice in life. That's my understanding.
Our souls get very challenged as they endure whatever this is. I love the way you said that. Whatever is making my eyes blink.
Whatever it is what it is.
It is. The older I get, the more it really is like a matrix, like the matrix. You know, like. And I do. I like to. I like to say this. I basically think about this isn't my real home. You know, kind of treat this like, all right, I'll do what I need to until I get back to my real home. You know, wherever that is or whatever that place is.
I'd be sitting out I have a client. He's into bird watching. They got a bird store.
Oh yeah, my best friend's into that.
I was sitting out in the backyard looking at the birds. The birds doing what the birds want to do. We the only ones that's been. Think about this, Sean. They got elephants in the circus. They got elephants in the circus. The elephant don't know he could trample down that tent and walk up at that circus. Imagine what they did to our mind.
Oh yeah. You don't want to get me started on that. That would be. We can't switch places right now.
I deal with that. I deal with that knowing, oh my God, what did they do to our mind? What did they do to my mind? That's why I quit my job of 20 years. And I'm out here on the journey of living my truth, acknowledging the God in me. You know, I seek to operate in my gift. Everything I study, every Bible scripture, book, it says that God gave man individual gifts. When I read the story of Cain and Abel, that's what's happening to us today. Cain killed Abel because he didn't know his gift and he became jealous. That's the reason why we looking at what Bob and John and Sue and Tim doing instead of getting to know who we are. We got the gift. If we cultivate our gift and go out in the world and not seek validation, fear rejection, or have a need to fit in, our gift will provide. Our gift will allow us to live that life of joy, peace, and laughter and give us our abundance. But we don't know who we are. And I deal with that, having awakened and pull. It's like, it can't be unseen. Nobody knows what it's like to grow up in dysfunction and now have this vision and see things like this. It takes, like you say, a daily work just to stay grounded. Just to not allow yourself to get dark to like what happened. It's a matrix. Controlled. Like I said, that's a whole nother conversation. I deal with that. I deal with that as a person, especially having awakened now, Sean, and seeing my kids and my ex-husband and my mom and society live the way we live. Our riches are our relationships. It's not our possessions. But meanwhile, you got us divorced. You got those of us that's awakened, that's no longer willing to deal with that bullshit. Nobody want to be around you. It's very hard to find real happy people that have character and integrity and values and hold you accountable. That's rare. It's rare. It's and what happens is a lot of us who holds these values, character, integrity, and accountability, we find ourselves isolated with no life, single. And I said, this can't be. This can't be how it is. And in the awareness, I seek to bring awareness to it. I've been posting on social media in different groups, and people's been reaching out to me. It's total strangers. I've been posting, talking about this stuff. And I say, you're not alone. And people are reaching out to me saying, you know exactly what I'm going through. You're not alone. We find ourselves isolated, single, and by ourselves because you don't want to deal with no bullshit. Because you don't want to wear no mask. You don't want to be toxic. Yeah, I don't want to pretend. I want to be able to come around you and be myself. I want to get to know you. If we're dating, I want to know the authentic you. People can't even tell you what they want, what they desire and require in a relationship. They don't even have, values and morals and a mission. I see now when I get married again that our relationship, our vows need to be posted in the house. That need to be our mission, vision, purpose, values. We need to be held accountable towards those things. We don't even know to do that. You have to set them for yourself first. And then people, oh, why you're like that? Why you're like that? This is what keeps me aligned. This is what keeps my boundaries, setting and establishing these values for myself. It keeps me aligned. That's the acknowledging the God in me. So
let's talk about not being ashamed of your past. This is part about moving on. Message ministry without religion. You embrace.
Coming from a dysfunctional background, growing up in an environment where I come from, shame was normal. It was what you do. You don't tell your business. You don't let nobody know what you're going through. But what I've experienced is when you don't share your truth, that's how it's passed down to the next generation, because it lives on through shame. It lives on through hiding, and it doesn't allow you to address the real issue. We'll put fear in our children because of what we've experienced. Due to shame, we won't tell them. It becomes a fear. It becomes a fear. When you don't speak your truth and you're ashamed of something you go through, it becomes a fear that you project on the next person. So not being ashamed is me taking a stance for God, speaking my truth, letting people know what it's like to be reborn, acknowledging that the behaviors I exhibited, the actions I did, choices I made, that was from a condition without my permission place. I didn't know who I was. I didn't even understand religion. I didn't understand what was being taught to me through religion about the conditioning. You know, I see shame as, I see shame as a cancer. I would call shame as a cancer that eat away, and rob us of our joy. Rob us of our joy to be free, to acknowledge. I didn't know. And it's okay. Because once you are reborn, how can you not take a stance for God? So there's nothing why should we be ashamed? That's just my take on it. That's my take on that.
Yeah, I think you summed it up. I'm trying to think. I was listening in terms of a nugget. I think you answered it a minute ago.
Right.
Just continue to go on. That was pretty good because I mean, you need to, if you want to tie that up in a quick bow and just say that however you want to say that you can grow through your shame or evolve, because that's how that's the way. Yeah, if you want to tie that up real quick.
I got you. Shame for me is facing my truth. When you face your truth and you're not ashamed of what you've been through, it means that you have evolved. It means that you have grown. It means that you have healed. I mean, you don't have any shame. You acknowledging God and you're healed.
And yeah, that's great. Okay. All right. I think we've covered. Well, you know what? You just said that, and I actually liked the way you said that, because you said that you had been working from a condition without your permission place. Do you want to try to? Gosh, I'm trying to think of a way to
I think we need to just have a conversation like we had when we had just. I think me and you now just need to have a conversation, because I think it flows better when we have a conversation rather than.
Oh wait, I'm just making sure we hit your point.
I got you.
There were just some things that I wanted to make sure.
I got you.
But I do. We're not done. Don't worry.
That condition without permission. People say when you say that, that's profound. I say, yeah, you don't realize everything we eat, how we think, our mindset. We don't have a choice as a child. You look at a child, and a child is born free. I look at my grandchildren, and I say, children are born free. They don't have no ill will, no malice, no shame, no blame, no fear, doubt, insecurity, no chaos, discord. Everything we teach them, what we say, how we move, how we think, what we feed them, they are conditioned without their permission. And I didn't understand for years. Do not conform to the patterns of the world, but be ye transformed by the renewal of your mind. We don't break it down like that. We don't break it down to children that children need to understand that you're being conditioned without your permission. Don't conform to the patterns of the world. Go out in the world and transform your mind. Open your mind. I tell my daughter, I tell my children, everything you all learned was what we taught you. I wish I had known to go out in the world and transform my mind before I became a parent. Because I wouldn't have passed the stuff down that I was conditioned without my permission into my family. That is the hardest part about waking up. That is the reason why I have no shame. Because I'm having a conversation I wish somebody would have had with me, that somebody would talk about, that I want it to be heard, that maybe can change somebody's life. Parenthood is not to be taken for granted. It's the most important thing you can do. In that society, coming from my background, seeing young kids out there just becoming parents, unprepared, I know because I was one. And to see them hurt their babies subconsciously because they were hurt. To see them not understand the importance of educating their babies, loving their babies, grounding their babies in the word, to train their minds to be strong for this world. That's hard to watch. You know, and then society needs to understand that. That's something that we need to get out there. You are conditioned without your permission. Don't conform to that. Acknowledge God lives in you and realize you are the creator of your life. I didn't understand that. I didn't understand. I lived in a slumbering mind for years, just on autopilot. To wake up, to realize, oh my God, I've been on autopilot. I was conditioned without my permission. I almost lost my mind when I realized it. I did. I almost lost my mind. And I thank God for saving me. So that's why I'm on my mission. Yeah.
Gold right there. All right.
Has a clean slate to restart his life.
All right.
When a girl have a baby and she made that mistake at 15 years old, it lives with her forever.
Yeah.
It does. It lives with her forever. And the camera rolling.
Yeah.
To watch your children deal with the version of yourself that you've died to watch them struggle with it. That's the hard part about waking up. To see them embody the behaviors you passed down. I can admit I passed down. The way my boys are, I can own that. Chasing the bag, the image, I did that. I did that out in society, looking for validation, seeking approval, unhealthy relationships. It's norm for them. And I have these conversations. We talk about it, but they resist the change. Nobody talks about the mind is a muscle. It's the biggest muscle on our body. We don't even study it to understand it enough to understand how it works. We don't talk about it enough. This should be something that we should talk about in school, in church. The number one thing is we need to understand how this works. That's why when we make a decision that I want to change this, our mind resists change. That's why we sit up, oh, I'm trying. I want to, I'm finna. I'm gonna, I wanna. Because our own mind resists change. So what we have to do is push through the resistance period, because there's a resistance period. Push through it, and that's when change occurs, when we push through the resistance period. But to be awakened in a family, in an environment of people who don't want to wake up, or it's painful to wake up, it's painful. I know what it is. It's painful. It's discomfort. That's hard to watch. That's hard to watch. I struggle with wanting to leave with no trace. I deal with that. I deal with that because I feel like I'm suffering now that I've awakened, and I ask God, why did I wake up? Why did I wake up? Why? That's the only painful part of waking up, is seeing everybody around you. La 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 la. Fear, doubt, insecurity, dysfunction, chaos, discord, conflict. That's the hard part.
But hopefully they got enough money to hide all that.
Do you know what an insecure person with money, they're dangerous. That's why we got P. Diddy. For real. An insecure person that get money, that's the devil in the flesh. What is the devil? Fear, doubt, insecurity, create chaos, discord, conflict, irritation, aggravation, frustration. Get them some money. So, yeah.
All right, so let's talk about reaping and sowing.
Talk about what?
Reaping and sowing.
Ooh.
All right, so
Reaping and sowing. My story is reaping and sowing is real.
yeah.
As I shared with you earlier, I got mad with my mom, and I went out and I got pregnant. At 14 years old, I wanted to become a mom because I felt like my mom didn't love me, and I'm going to go have a baby. But God revealed to me a couple of years ago, oh my God, you made that child out of being vindictive. Because it was vindictive. I think about all of my experiences, my choices. During my healing phase, I just had a whole revelation of my life. I don't know if anybody else has ever been through what I've gone through, but that reflection made me realize I reap what I sowed. I made my child out of vindictive, being retaliating in my internalizing and retaliating against my mom to say, I don't need you. I'll go have me a baby. Well, that same baby now is angry. He is lost. I look and realize I reap what I sowed because I sowed him out of an evil energy. And he deals with dark energy. He deals with very dark energy. So from my experience, I see that we reap what we sow. I can say that's a true testament with no shame.
But right now, you were sowing some different seeds.
Yeah. My transparency, vulnerability, and humbleness, to speak my truth, to share with the world my experience, to hopefully wake somebody up with who I am with my family, the importance of my family. I had to really start with me, to be honest, to learn to love me. It's so important to learn to love yourself because what I realized, we can only give what we feel with. We can't give anything else. Now that I've faced my truth, I have no blame, no shame. I'm filled with love, joy, peace, and laughter, and I'm out in the world having conversations I wish someone would have had with me, speaking my truth, acknowledging God in all my ways, letting people know that we have the power in us, through us, as us to retrain our minds. Just on that mission. Ooh, what time is it?
Getting close to 4, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, 3:53.
Okay, we good.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are seeds. I'm sowing seeds of transparency, authenticity, humbleness, love, joy, peace, and laughter, character, high character, integrity. Growth, you know, owning my truth. Truth is something we do not like to talk about. Truth is something that, my vision, if all of us would face our truth, the devil wouldn't have no energy. Just think if we faced our truth, start living intentional, and became aware of our purpose and our gift. That what society called the devil wouldn't exist. Because like I said earlier, we were conditioned without our permission. And it's painful to face our truth because what happens because of that conditioning, we make choices on autopilot. And a lot of those choices we make from that conditioning are things that we do to hurt ourselves, really. We internalize the trauma. And our trauma is different, what I've realized. My background and where I come from, someone may not understand my trauma, but I may not understand someone else's trauma who grew up in a different background and would say, well, I experienced this trauma in my life. But what I've discovered is we all have some type of trauma because really what happened is our minds are immature as a child. And we take on these things and we get hurt because we're emotionally immature. And it becomes trauma. And so we internalize them and we go out in the world with that energy. It's how I see it now from an older woman. We go out in the world with that energy instead of understanding that ain't got nothing to do with me. But we digest it and we embody it. And we take it out in the world and it become, you know how children mimic their parents or mimic what we see, mimic what they see. We embody it and we take it out in the world and it becomes a part of us. Instead of us understanding at a very young age, it has nothing to do with me. That's what I wish I had understood at a very young age, that has nothing to do with me. I get to create the life I want. All I have to do is acknowledge God lives in me. I can create the life I want. It's that simple. Why nobody taught us that? Like, hey, what's going on in your home and with your mom and your dad? That has nothing to do with you. We take it on. Like, you know, my children, I'm transparent with my children, which a lot of parents are not. And I've shared with my children what I've experienced and what I go through. And they still been hurt by my awakening because it changed their lives. And they're now 20 and 18, the two that's at home with me in these last 5 years. And I tell them every day, it wasn't about you. But they don't understand that. They don't like my 18-year-old, he said, I have resentment towards you because for the last 2 years, you have not wanted to be a mom. You know, all that traveling I was doing. He said, you have not wanted to be a mom. It's like you've been rushing me to grow up. I resent you for that. And I told him, I said, it wasn't about you. It wasn't about to intentionally hurt you. But he did tell me, he said, you don't understand what it feels like to hear my mom say, I'm ready for all my children to get grown. I'm ready for y'all to get grown. I'm ready to live my life. And again, I tell them, imagine becoming a mom before you became yourself. I became a mom before I became Yolanda. Imagine it. Imagine what it's like to realize 32 years later, my whole life I've been a mom. Who am I?
Maybe could you change your name to Your Momda?
That's a good one. For real. Because I like that. I'm going to tell the kids that. But
the first time that just popped in my head. That's
right, your mom does.
Your mom does.
Yeah. Because nobody see me as Yolanda. You don't have a right to be Yolanda. You don't have that right. And to be honest, I have had no empathy or sympathy from anybody to understand that. Nobody understands that. Nobody understands that this little girl, out of hurt, became a mom as young as 14 years old. And she's been a mom her entire life. She's now 47 years old. And all she's been her whole life is a mom. Who is she? And at 47 years old, she's still expected to be there for everybody else and not to be there for herself. Who is she? Does she have a say-so? Does she get a voice? Does she get to create the life she wants? Does she get to dream? Does she get to correct her wrongs? Does she get an opportunity? And she has taken the steps to say, okay, I'm going after this life I want. And everybody around her is saying, no, you can't do that because you are a mom. You're nobody. You can't be Yolanda. You're nobody. You are a mom, and that's all you'll ever be. You don't have a right. In less than 2 years, she'll be 50. And nobody sees. Nobody cares. It's like nobody understands. It's like and imagine how many people have lived this way. What internal battles do I have? I struggle with wanting to leave, not leaving a trace. I struggle with getting up every day, accepting my life for what it is, working to make the best out of it. I struggle with, at 47 years old, starting over a career, walking away from my career 5 years ago, asking God every day, what the hell did I do? What did I do? Like, it's work becoming an entrepreneur in your 40s. Because your energy's not the same. I think about, I gave the IRS 20 years. What if I would have worked in my own business for 20 years? Yolanda, how do you make this work at 40-something years old that you started over? Was I supposed to sit in it and ask myself, what if? What if? What if I would have did this? What if I would have did this? What if I would have did this? Well, I'm one of those people. I did it. I did it. I'm here.
What if you're one of those people who is just afraid?
Right.
Just can't just do it.
Right. Right. And that's where I am now. I'm there now, Sean, with I'm constantly evolving. I'm constantly shifting because, like I said, this invisible thing, it's going to leave me one day. And when it leave me, it's going to leave me. It's going to leave you. At the same time, I'm the mother of 4. It's not going to leave them, my grandchildren. It's going to leave me. And I look in the mirror and I say, do I live my life in fear? Do I live my life for everybody else? Because I have my whole life. Do I ever get an opportunity? Do I ever get an opportunity to discover the best version of me? Do I ever get an opportunity to walk in my gift? To focus on me? Can I be selfish? When you become a mom at 14, you don't get to become who you are. You become a mom. So I'm on that journey that I deserve to be the best version of me. I deserve to want, I desire. The Bible said God will give you the desires of your heart. I desire to walk in my gift. And I must say, these last 5 years, God has taken care of me. I am a true testimony. True. That God have taken care of me. Is it work? Yes. You gotta stay in your word every day. Just stay in your word every day. Train your mind every day. Watch who you talk to. Watch who you be around. Watch what you see. Watch what you hear. But I desire to live in my truth. And, I I live in a big house. I drive a Cadillac. I made the 6 figures. Hell, last year I made 6 figures as an entrepreneur. But what I've discovered, my riches are my relationships. I'm 47 years old. I don't have a best friend. I don't have a husband. I look around and I realize everything that's valuable, we don't even realize it was valuable. I live in a big house, 5 bedrooms, 3 baths. I like to cook. I've been posting in the groups in my community. I'm going to do a Friday night live at my house with ladies in the community, but they have to register on my website. I'm going to call them and connect with them. A lady inboxed me. She said, aren't you afraid to have strangers in your house? I said, imagine living in a 4,000 square foot house, 5 bedrooms, 3 baths. My son's never here. I'm just in here by myself. What I'm supposed to do? Just sit in here? Just sit in here. What I'm supposed to do? I look around my house and my spirit said, I want to create memories in my house. That's what my spirit leads me to do. I realize society project their fears on others. Like I told her, this is a building. It's brick. It's sheetrock. It's paint, it's floors. It can't go with me. But I choose to feed people good food for the body and good food for thought. And if it's in my home, oh well. That's what I like to do.
Food for the soul too.
Mm-hmm.
What time do you have to go, by the way?
His graduation started at 7. We said we're gonna leave around.
Yeah, my son's concert starts at 6.
Okay, well that's good. I need to be at the house by 6. We said we're gonna leave at 5:36 to get to. You know it's gonna be a lot of traffic out there, Lord. We're going to go to the Landers.
Did you? I skipped over this one. Was there a scripture? Because it seemed like there was.
What is it?
Did you mention was there a scripture that or a spiritual moment? Sorry, a scripture or spiritual moment that confirmed your transformation? Is this something you want to hit on? I don't want you to.
Oh, that we hit on it.
Okay.
Romans 12:2. Do not conform to the patterns of the world, but be ye transformed. I said, what?
Oh, yeah. Of course
yeah.
You did. Sorry.
You good? I do want to hit on right quick. Growing up in Memphis, right now with what's going on with all of the crime, my heart goes out to the youth, the age group who are committing all the crime is about 18 to 22. If we look back, this is me growing up in Memphis in the 90s. Memphis went through the crack epidemic in which the grandmothers of these children, maybe and great-grandmothers of these children now, were on crack. What people don't know is their daughters were molested by the crack drug dealers because their mom wanted the drugs, so they would just allow anything in the house. A lot of those children who were molested or neglected, they became drug addicts with pills. We went through that ecstasy pandemic. What is the other thing? Xanax.
Oh.
Xanax was a big one that they were doing. I'm saying this to say, the children in Memphis are giving us what they're filled with. They are hurting. They were not born like that. No child in this world was born full of chaos, discord, conflict, pain, fear, doubt, and insecurity. Imagine being born into a home where your mom didn't nurture you, didn't teach you how to be grounded with your spirituality, didn't teach you how to read, didn't teach you how to provide or survive out here in the world. What do we expect we gonna get? So I don't think Memphis need the FBI to come in or the state troopers to come in. Memphis need a community day of healing or month of healing or year of healing where they need to open community centers and do outreaches and say, y'all, we realize you all got hurt. People don't realize there are a lot of children that didn't go to school because of COVID that's still not in school. What you think they're going to do when they grow up? These children are being conditioned without their permission. This is the norm for them. If you don't have the knowledge, skills, and abilities to go out there and provide, if you're not taught confidence, love, joy in your spirit, imagine being in the world and you can't even talk, express yourself, emotional maturity. They're throwing temper tantrums. That's why people are getting killed. Nobody taught them how to express themselves. Nobody sit down and listen to these children. I know this because I've had this going on in my own family where the mom didn't want the children, neglected the children because the mom never healed and she was chasing a man for validation. So when the daddy didn't want her no more, guess what? She didn't want the children because she was hurt. So this is a cycle. This is a cycle going on, and it's bigger than, oh, we're just gonna bring in the FBI and we're gonna bring in the state troopers, and
They would have to acknowledge it in order to bring it, to break the cycle. It would have to be acknowledged, right?
by who? The city?
Yeah,
Because the people don't know.
right.
The city, I feel like we, as a society, those of us that's aware, that's educated, we are intelligent enough to know, Sean, that children are not born into this world angry. That was conditioned in that child. And then they say, oh, the parents need to get their children. I went to a store in Memphis the other day. A lady walked up. It was 10 o'clock in the morning. She had a boom box in her hand. She looked like the mama, and the child was with her. They were walking. The music was, bitch, hoe, fuck, no. What you think they teaching them kids? And then, because of shame, I won't come and tell you, Sean, I don't know how to read. Sean, I need help. So the first time something happened, or we have a disagreement, because I can't even express myself to you to say, Sean, I'm disappointed. You hurt my feelings. I need help. My heart goes out to Memphis because I am one of them. I am one of them. They need help. I don't know the solution. I don't know the solution. I don't even think if awareness was brought to them, they would receive it because it would be painful. That's the part we don't talk about, the painful part of acknowledging it. They say they don't want help. No, it hurts. It hurts, Sean. It hurts to face the truth. It's a psychological, it's embarrassing. It's shameful. It's all the spirits of the devil and what the devil represents is what it is.
The devil has a heyday in shame. That is his favorite tool. Absolutely.
And that's where my boundary, I don't do nothing that if light was shined on it, I would be ashamed. That's my boundary. I don't do nothing that I would be ashamed of. No, you can't do that, Yolanda. That's where I'm at with it. So, yeah. That's where I see the issue is with Memphis. And unless, I don't know, like I said, I don't know the solution. I was talking to a lady yesterday, and she said, Yolanda, so how would you get them to retrain their mind? And she got me to thinking, she said, because if you just bring these people in here and tell them, oh, you guys, you were conditioned without your permission and you need help. She said, they're not going to receive that. And I said, you know what? I never thought about it because I'm just a straightforward person. But she's right. They're not going to receive that. They're not going to receive that their mind needs to be retrained. If I were to tell you, well, you know what, Sean, you were conditioned without your permission. We need to retrain your mind. I will receive it. I wish I could go somewhere in total isolation and get reprogrammed. But I'm thinking, do you do it through music, through art? I don't know. But
I mean, it's different for different people. Different people are respond in different ways. You know.
you gotta get past the pain. It's painful for them. All right, what's your next question?
Well, so okay, well, all right. So, what if you're one of these people who is watching this, and you're I don't know what the intention of all this is for, but let's say that someone who needs help and is struggling through the pain right now is watching this. How do you help them? How do you help them get past themselves? Right, they're in their own way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that what you're saying? You're in your own way. How can you get out of your way? And what is there? I mean, I know it's hard. You know, but
When you reach that point in your life where you sick and tired of yourself, when everything you done tried is not working, when your environment is full of fear, doubt, insecurity, chaos, discord, conflict, irritation, aggravation, and frustration, that's the indicator that you're ready to change. When you realize, when you are frustrated with your environment, your experiences, and your exposure, that is your spirit telling you that I am ready for something new. All you have to do is be willing to face your truth, do the work. The work is acknowledging that you were conditioned without your permission. Realizing that you did conform to social norm. And seek the truth of who am I, what it is that I desire for my life, what is my vision for my life that I desire to create. Be willing to identify the fears, doubts, and insecurities. Write them down. I use this illustration. Imagine someone gifting you 100 acres of land for free. But the land has mangy dogs, abandoned houses, abandoned cars, bags of trash, and the grass hadn't been cut in 25 years. You're giving that deed to the land for free. I hope you would take it because that land represents our mind. The mangy dogs is fear. The abandoned houses is doubt. The abandoned cars, insecurity. The bags of trash may be neglect, betrayal, abuse, molestation, denial, toxic relationships. The grass that had been cut is you experiencing irritation, aggravation, frustration, chaos, discord, conflict, jealousy, envy. All you got to do is clear that land off because 100 acres has value. So I'm saying to you today that I am proof that when you're willing to do the work, you will see the value in your mind. Your life will change because you have a responsibility to live in love, joy, peace, and laughter. You have a responsibility to become the best version of yourself. You have a responsibility to not conform to the patterns of the world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. You were conditioned without your permission. When you acknowledge that God lives in you, through you, as you can do all things. And I'm proof.
Nice. um, Wow. I have no comment on that. That was strong. Truth speaking peace.
I want to do an introduction. I want to do something right quick.
Yeah, no, we now that you're warm,
yeah,
we may as well start over again.
Yeah.
Let's do it all again.
I'm coming to you all today from a humble, transparent, and vulnerable place. The conversation I'm about to have with you all is one that I wish someone would have had with me. I have no shame. I bear no blame. I thank God I'm no longer insane. I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee. I grew up in an environment where fear, doubt, and insecurity was handed down to me like heirlooms. I didn't realize I was conditioned without my permission. God has awakened me, and I am on a mission to share with you all my life so that you can see that we have the power in us to transform our minds. I'm not going to lie to you. It's some work. I'm not going to lie to you. It's going to take some time. But I'm coming to you to let you know it's possible. So what I'm getting ready to share with you all, it's not to be shame about or to make people feel that I'm a victim. I'm sharing this with you all to let y'all know that you are not alone and that we have the power in us to transform and create the life we want. Yeah, we do. We have the power to create the life we want. We have the power to start over. We look at life and what life has or what it is in the now. One thing I realize is we be focusing on the right now. We focus on right now what life is right now, what our situation is right now. I see us as farmers. That's why I use the land as my analogy all the time. Farmer can clear off its land and start over. You know, in life, sometimes we have setbacks. Sometimes we have to start over. It's not about where you've been. It's always about where you're going. And I'm on a mission to share that with people from a transparent place. We are often told what to do, but nobody tell us what they've been through. And I thank God that I have no shame and I bear no blame, that my transparency is my gift. I've been on the journey asking God, what's my gift? What's my gift? My transparency. Me willing to speak about my life and tell people what I've been through. Because during my healing phase, I'm not going to lie to you all, I almost lost my mind. I feel like I did lose my mind. And God said, get up. Get up and tell people about it. Get up and have the conversation you wish somebody would have had with you. So that's my purpose here today. My purpose here is to have the conversation with the little girl that I wish somebody would have had with me. I desired to speak in communities, on stages, for people to hear me. I'm not telling people what to do. I just want to tell people what I've been through. I want young folks to wake up. Wake up. Look in the mirror. This invisible thing gonna leave one day. You got a choice what you do with it. If we understand that to acknowledge God in us and the power of our choice, I don't think we talk about that enough. We don't talk about our choices. We are our choices. There's power in your choice. That's why God gave us free will. Embody the God in you. Don't allow what somebody else did or said to conform your mind. Don't allow what your mama or your dad has said to you or did to you to shape your life, God is more powerful than that. And I know the average person tell you, pray to God about it. God gonna fix it. But I'm here today to tell you God lives in you.
Got it.
I'm here today to tell you that God lives in you, through you, as you. And you have to acknowledge God in you, that we have the power to create the life we want. That we can transform our mind. It's no different, you know. So many of us, let me back up. The mind. I want to say this. The mind. The mind is the strongest muscle on your body.
The tongue? I thought that was the tongue.
Your mind is the strongest muscle.
I'm sorry. Start that over. I
Yeah.
fucked you up.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Our mind, I've discovered that our mind is the strongest muscle on our body. This is the strongest weapon. Let me start that over, because this the strongest weapon.
Yeah. But no, the tongue, like, I think physically you can't push your tongue down. Like, it will always push back. Have you tried? Like, it's the strongest individual single muscle in the body.
I think the mind is, and I think we haven't discovered it.
Well,
and
that's
let me
true.
tell you
That's
why.
true. Yeah, okay, let's start again.
Yeah.
Without me fucking up your story.
Yeah. Oh, I'm getting still. Okay.
Yeah, we've been at this for more than 2 hours.
Yeah. This good, though.
Just in rolling time.
Yes. The mind is the strongest muscle on our body. The mind is the strongest muscle on our body. It's a muscle I don't think we aware of. We're so used to seeing everything physical. The mind can be strong like a bodybuilder, or it could be weak like a person overweight. We have a decision how we train our mind. Neville Goddard says something. An untrained mind is like a mob. Y'all remember in the Western days how the mob will end up betraying each other? A trained mind is like an army. We get to choose how our mind will speak. The little voice in our head that nobody hears, that's where it starts. We have to train it. Does it speak good things? Does it speak joy, laughter, confidence, grace? Or is it speaking fear, doubt, or insecurity? I'm here today to tell you, train your mind. Because if you don't, it'll betray you. And that's what has happened to a lot of people. It happened to me. My mind betrayed me. How your mind betray you? You go out in the world with a point to prove. Ego, arrogance, pride, shame, guilt, fear, doubt, insecurity. Recognize those things. If your mind operating from that place, you got the power in you to retrain it. All you got to do is start one day at a time. Get up and say positive affirmations every day. When your mind start thinking negative, have something in your pocket that you can pull out and listen to. Some affirmation that you can start reciting. Life and death lies in the power of your tongue. Watch who you talk to. Watch who you listen to. So I do express, train your mind. Nobody talk about that enough. I think I can say what I'm trying to say. If anything else, I just want to say. Discipline. One thing I've learned that I wish I had was leaving home early. I realized I didn't get that discipline and structure I needed out in the world to be successful, because success to me is different at this age and stage of my life. Success is not the materialistic things. I could care less about the materialistic things. And I say this because I've achieved what society defines as success. Entrepreneur, home ownership. I ain't got no husband, but entrepreneur, home ownership, that's success according to society. But success really is how you see yourself. What thoughts, what's your thoughts really saying to you? Have you trained your mind to live a disciplined life? Willpower, character, integrity, values. What's your values? Do you know your mission for your life? Do you operate from your purpose? That's, healthy relationships. That's the definition of success. Because when I die, I can only live on through my relationships. I can't live on through my possessions.
No.
So that's success. Healthy relationships are our riches. On this day, I would say, healthy relationships are our riches.
A lonely man was never wealthy.
I just desire to be around healthy people, and that's
Right.
that's the part. And I'm telling you, I'm being loud about it. Yeah.
It'll actually, it's bad for your health.
I mean, I've been single for 6 years, and I can say I thank God for my friends, and I have just a few, and I thank God for them because I needed this time to really learn and love Yolanda. I realized I converted back to 14 years old is what I did. That's what happened to me.
Sure. That makes sense. I think.
I realized that's why I went on the
Therapists
traveling.
would say that would make
Yeah.
a lot of sense. Sorry. Excuse me.
Are you good? I think that's why I did all that traveling and the partying and my whole artist phase and just discovering like, who am I? I think I just let go and just reverted back.
Well, there was something that I wanted to talk about that we didn't hit on. Was a comment that you made. It was talk about the struggle of trying to be intentional and changing when everyone else around you is not. And a lot of people, a lot of them are probably trying to talk you out of it, and trying to say, what are you doing this for? What's all this about?
My awakening came with a lot of change within myself and realizing that behaviors exhibited by myself when I was in that slumbering state were those stemming from fear, doubt, and insecurity. Now that I've awakened and desire to live with love, joy, peace, and laughter, forgiveness, humbleness, to live intentional, it's a resistance from my environment because people don't realize toxic relationships, toxic environments is their comfort. And when I bring attention to the dysfunction, it creates a discomfort. It creates pain to face the truth, to see the light, to shine the light on it. So instead of them embracing the healing phase, they deny that it's a problem, that it even exists. And instead of us addressing the issues, I am the issue. It's a very lonely place. It's a very painful suffering. I understand when Jesus said that it's long suffering, because when you are awake and the people around you are not, because they resist the changes. You know, everybody resists change. When they resist the change, you are treated like you're the one combative. You're the one with the problem. So it's a long suffering place. It's a lonely place. It's a place where I cry a lot. I cry a lot to watch it. I cry a lot to be around it. It requires a lot of forgiving. It requires a lot of, like I said, suffering, because you have to take a lot of blows. You have to take a lot of blows. And you realize, you clearly see that they don't know better. Because, like I said, it's work to heal. It's ugly. It's ugly. It's dark. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. I had thoughts of suicide when I was going through my healing. I was like, I fucked my life up. No way I would have did this. Oh my God, I had my children at 14. I shouldn't have been no mama. I didn't even know who I was. What were you thinking? Just all of this stuff going on. I'm seeing all of these vivid revelations, pictures. Just,
Yeah, God will do that. God will show you right where you're standing. You will see something, and it won't be there, but you'll see it, and you'll be like, "Hey, there it is," and it's there for a reason. But you know that you can't change anyone,
right?
So, I mean, everyone's going to change at their own pace. But the real struggle is just the fact that they found you as a problem.
I'm the problem.
Yeah,
I'm the problem, and it's, nobody wants to be around you. You hold people accountable. When you address things that normally we would go behind people's back and talk about them. I call Sean and tell Sean what Barbara did. Sean to go tell Barbara. Barbara be mad at me, but nobody would never have a conversation. So that's the reason why when we have a party and we all get to drinking, we start fighting. Because now everybody got the courage to have a conversation. It's for real. Everybody got the courage. That's the reason why so many fights break out in dysfunctional communities. Dysfunctional families. So many fights break out in dysfunctional families because there's a lot of resentment. It's a lot of resentment in the families. He said, she said, we do not have courageous conversations. And so when alcohol is involved, everybody's ready to talk.
they are. A lot. You want to look over one of these pages while I look over the other to see if there's anything. I really think we hit almost.
What truth about yourself was the hardest to admit? Did I answer that? Let me see. What was the truth about myself? I was vindictive. I was a vindictive child. I was a vindictive person. I was a vindictive. Being vindictive caused us to hurt ourselves. I understand, say God said, let vengeance be mine. Because when you vindictive, you end up hurting yourself.
Oh, yeah.
That's a truth that I admit. And I shine light on all my truths because I desire to be free from them. That's the reason why I speak my truth. Because I know a lot of people like, why she tell her truth? I be posting on social media and everything. And I get a, you know what else I deal with? I deal with a lot of people who, in a sense, attack me about my transparency on any opportunity. It could be an unrelated topic where we are having a disagreement or a misunderstanding. They're going to convert back to, I can't believe you did that with all your transparency. With all your, like, what they got to do with this? So it's like it irritates a lot of people. My transparency.
But it's your gift.
Yeah, but it irritates people. I mean, and I've done research.
So your gift irritates people. Talk about that. I mean,
I hear you. I'm getting ready to respond. I know.
You said that this, but yeah.
I'm getting ready to respond.
I'm trying to connect two dots.
Because I did research on it. It's like, why does it irritate? Because I'm a mirror. I'm a mirror reminding them of their struggles that they're not ready to face. So if I'm speaking my truth, how dare you to speak your truth and I'm not speaking mine? How dare you to be free and I'm not? I'm a reflection of the things that they're hiding, that they're dealing with. Maybe my truth parallels with some things they've been through that they are not willing to share. Maybe my truth parallel with some of the things that they have gone through that they're not willing to share. That's
that they're keeping locked away.
That they're keeping locked away, right?
Mm-hmm. And that's the impedance. You know, that's what's impeding their progress.
Yeah. I was in a group in DeSoto County. There's a ladies' women group. And the group said to empower and meet women we're going to empower. It had empower in there and build relationships with women in our community. So me being me, I would write a story every day about my life and close it out with, you're not alone. Just letting women know what I've been through and that you're not alone. If you're facing this, I'm just being transparent about, hey, I face this too. I go through this too. Let you know you're not alone. The administrator started blocking my posts. She said, you need to stop with all these posts about yourself. So I inboxed her and I took her rules and what the mission of the group, and I wrote it up and I said, would you provide me some guidance? Because according to your mission, the group was designed to empower women. So, Sean, how can I empower you if I'm not willing to tell you what I've been through? Tell me if I'm wrong when I finish. She didn't respond. She made a post in the group. For those, don't come inboxing me asking me why I denied your post. This group is not for a personal diary. And you know why your post wasn't blocked. So I went back to the inbox. Prayed about it. I said, I apologize that I violated the group. I said, but I would have preferred if you would have came to me instead of making a post in the group. I wasn't talking about you. I said, look at it from my perspective. I said, I've already looked through the group. I was the only one writing personal stuff about me in the group. It was my understanding that I was empowering. You know, I wrote it over here. She was like, no, I wasn't talking about you. I wasn't talking about you. Well, who were you talking about? Who were you? I mean, if I'm trying to empower you, How else you empower somebody with other than being transparent? Every motivation speaker I know is transparent.
Mm-hmm.
Typically.
Well, what did she think you were trying to turn into the Bougiewild show or the Yolanda show or something?
I guess so. I guess she thought. I never put Bougiewild in it or anything because, I know why I started posting every day. Because she said, I had posted a promotional thing when I first got in the group. She said, no, read the rules. She said, promotions are on Thursdays. She said, but you got to be active in the group every day. Because a lot of people just come to the group on Thursdays to promote. So in my mind, I was being active in the group. So, but she was like, no, I said, I thought I was empowering. I mean, if you got 3,000 women in the group, we all done been through some similar stuff. Why we can't? I don't know.
No.
But yeah, I think we did good.
Yeah.
I think we did good.
We had 168 minutes down to 18. So that's a lot. That's a lot of time.
Yep, I think we did good.
Yeah. I don't think we missed anything. I was trying to, so when we do these things, I try to listen to things that come to a real nice definitive end that may, so there were a couple of things we came to a nice end on. And I think that we're good.
Okay.
But if you wanted to just kind of say anything to summarize anything, I mean, we've got 17 minutes left on these cards.
I think I did when I just was stopping talking.
Yeah.
The reason why.
No, we got it all. I'm just saying if there was anything you wanted. Okay, cool.
I think we got it.
Oh, do this because we didn't. I need one last one. Got it. Yeah, cool.